So I talk about ancient times with you guys. This is Nefertiti. The Tukemenauten's prophecy has been complete. Nefertiti, Nefertiti's second return has been completed. It was instructed in Tukemenauten's burial chamber where the younger lady was laid to resting. It's been complete. Nefertiti has arrived. The second comings of Nefertiti from ancient times of 3,500 years ago has been prophetically completed. So, yes. So now I just want us to talk more about ancient times. Because, in ancient times, we view death only for a reason. Only because death is like a stage for us to know that there's no such thing in death. because that's what we believe in ancient times. That's what the series of rebirth, because it came from the ancient times. Because ancient Egyptians, we used to view life and death. We didn't view, nobody else viewed life of a rebirth until the sequel of the ancient Egyptians protocol of what life was and what death would be type of protocol. And then I talk about the rebirth of what we view life to be, because now I made it. So the second coming of Nefertiti has returned, and has been 3,500 BC before Christ of years ago. So I made it back into the prophetical requestment of the sun god's request. So yes, you guys, but now I want you guys to learn what we process and what we learn through the valley of death, the valley of the shadow of death. What is the lessons and the teachings from the gods and goddesses of the lessons that we kept, and what we learned in the process from the mummification and the process for proceeding to the next life of the afterlife, of where we reach to the mortality type thinking of life, because now we're eternally alive, because we already passed in ancient times, but we made it to our conquest of the rebirthment of us the second time. And then because of that, it's like that was pretty much the prophetical reasonings of life and death and then rebirthment. It's for us to get a second chance of the re-teachings that we need to learn of life, to the rebirthment of life. So it's the reasoning why we come back again to learn the lessons and techniques and strategies to grow ourselves more lightly, not just integrated, not just thinking more and less likely viewpoints, because now we have the understanding of the acknowledgement of what we learned and the manners that we learned to teach of, and everything we learned over time to speak of from ancient times. And everything else is like 666. It was like a manner of a beast type occasion, because it's back in history. So there's like a beast occasion, because that's a beast, because we're going back from that we're not going from present time to back to 3,500 years ago, where King Tut, the last ruler of Egypt, was, and everything else about Nefertiti's second arriving of prophecy has returned. So yeah.
What truly fascinates me is just how similar different religious groups, separated by both time and space, view death. The ancient Egyptians simply saw death as a gate into the afterlife. Much like many major religions today, the afterlife was a kind of paradise, free from all the hassles present on Earth. Not all were permitted to pass through to the afterlife, however. The priests made themselves invaluable by teaching that processes must be followed in order to pass safely into eternity. This included mummification and being buried with a book of spells, both of which were highly expensive. The rich were also buried with items to take with them. This includes food, models of people to serve as servants, a chariot, and even a boat. How did ancient Egyptians view death? What truly fascinates me is just how similar different religious groups, separated by both time and space, view death. The ancient Egyptians simply saw death as a gate into the afterlife, much like
So yes, you guys. So we view death as a gateway to the next life, because we don't view death like that was the end times for us, because that's not what ancient Egyptians are taught in ministry for us to be taught. Because we believe that life has a series of teachings of lessons, so that way we may learn the lessons. Why do you think all the other great pharaohs lived? It's the teachings of life lessons of what we should learn over the time, and the teachings that we need to teach the teachings for, because that's what the pharaoh's capacity of viewpoint was, is to teach on the remarkment of what needs to be taught, so we can teach on what we need to discover, what we can learn next. Of course, Nefertiti has arrived, you guys. The second reasoning Nefertiti was born, Neferfer, and story lives on. And of course, Nefertiti, Law Nefertiti is my name. Law Nefertiti Perkins is my actual like name. You know, it's my legal name, you guys, of course. So you guys know who you're talking to. You're talking to me. You're talking to Nefertiti. So you know that this is me from ancient times, 3500 BC, before Christ. So this is ancient Egyptian type protocol procedures, and this is prophecies and everything we announce took the claim as everything for us to learn for truth. So in ancient times, we did learn some discoveries. In ancient times, we want to learn if everything what we learned and discovered in life was possibly the case of truth of arrival for the second reason of life. You know, we want to know the truth. You know, it's like every day and night we just seek for the acknowledgement of what we should heal from and what we should go from and what we should learn in our own life personally, because I don't tell you about your religious goals because that's your own religion, you know, but for the real insight of acknowledgement so we can learn about history and know everything about 3500 before Christ, ancient times, because I'm here, you guys. I made it, you know, so of course I am here. So I want to say thank you for watching this video. Hit the like button, and I'll see you guys in the next one.